Right now we have Tina Dietz of Twin Flame Studios with us. How are you doing, Tina?
I'm great, Gabby. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So please tell us the story of how Twin Flame Studios came to be.
Well, Twin Flame Studios is a high ROI influence and marketing company where we use audio to amplify the voices and messages of trusted leaders and companies all over the world. It's really our mission to help these people, help these organizations get their word out to a larger audience in the very intimate form of audio, whether that is nonfiction audiobook publishing or that is podcasting strategically for your business. And it's important that we note that in these times of great change, these powerful voices are needed now more than ever.
Yes.
My background and my story is a little bit more like the twisty journey of a lot of entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up as an entrepreneur. My parents' business, the super sexy world of wood burning stoves and fireplaces.
Wow.
Yeah, very exciting. But I never wanted to have my own business because I didn't want to be tied down to a brick and mortar like my parents
Mm-hmm.
were. And I'm an only child, so that business was my annoying younger sibling when I was growing up.
Right, the baby,
The
your
baby.
parents, yes.
Yeah. So I became a therapist and I tried to be conventional, and that didn't work out so well for me.
Okay.
As many
The entrepreneurial
entrepreneurs
spirit
find.
was still
That's
there.
right.
Mhm.
It's in the blood.
Yes.
So after working in higher education, starting a nonprofit, and also building another family business with my father, the Nyada Institute of Massage, I stepped off into a full-time business coaching practice.
Okay.
And through the jigs and the reels over the years, grew that practice. It was wonderful. I had young children at the time. We lived a mobile lifestyle. We sold our stuff, moved to Costa Rica.
Oh.
And at one point, because I was on my own personal expression, I grew up a little bit of a theater kid, drama kid,
Okay.
and was looking for some creative outlets. I became a voice actor as a paid hobby. And through that process and learning the audiobook industry as a narrator, I was exploring that. I had this epiphany. Well, wait a minute. I'm coaching all these people from all over the world who own businesses, 20 different industries, 8 different countries. Why aren't these folks who are publishing their own books, doing bestseller campaigns, why aren't they doing audiobooks? And it was that curiosity that led me down the rabbit hole. First, for audiobooks, I already had my own podcast at the time, had fallen in love with that world.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what led to developing this niche in podcasting and audiobooks for business owners, thought leaders, and companies.
Mm-hmm. And so what would you say the difference is, you said, versus something that's on paper versus really hearing a tone? What does that do for an audience to really hear a voice?
Well, a couple of years ago, I had the pleasure and privilege of being the lead interviewer on a documentary about podcasting called The Messengers. You can find it, I think it's on Amazon Prime
Okay.
and on Apple. And that was developed by Chris Kremitzos and his team at the Podfest Multimedia Expo. And that organization was younger at the time and wanted to really explore what is this industry of podcasting from an independent podcaster point of view, rather than Panoply or NPR or the big professional gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So I interviewed about 40 different podcasters from all different walks of life, different countries, different places. Most of them didn't know each other. And the word that came up in every single interview independently was the word intimacy.
Mm.
Podcasting being this intimate format, directly into your ears, becoming a voice in somebody's head. It's such a privilege. And that, also the ability to do active storytelling when we're so wired to tell stories as human beings. So that's, the audio format has a lot of advantages in that way. And it's also the most accessible form of media. You can listen, as I'm assuming some people are right now listening to this podcast. When you can't read, you can listen when you can't watch. So you can take it anywhere.
And is the coaching also involved in teaching people how to speak as well? Because I'm sure some people aren't necessarily natural storytellers. Is that something you sometimes have to teach certain clients as well?
Yeah, actually, the body of work that I've been developing over time and will continue to do so is around what I call vocal leadership. And that's really around the instrument that your external voice is and learning how to tune that and play it beautifully to another level. And also the internal voices that we have, which is really if the external voice is the instrument, then the internal voices are the music, the sheet music that we're playing.
Okay.
So those two things really need to be congruent in order to have a presence and in order to move people the way we want to move them through stories. And then of course there's also the actual storytelling and microphone techniques and all of that good
The little
stuff that we
details,
do
yeah.
as well. Yeah, exactly. So our hosts, one of the things we do as a company is we get our podcast hosts together into a mastermind about quarterly to connect them with each other and also to provide additional support and training.
Okay.
And that's in addition to meeting with them one-on-one to help them with the strategy, as their podcast is, being aired.
Okay, and so that kind of goes to my next question. You mentioned voice leadership and then how you can kind of take an extra step to really connect with the audience. So then what does being a conscious business leader mean to you?
Well, I think that the word conscious it's not become overplayed, but it's important to take a step back and look at, well, what does that really mean? So I'm glad you asked the question. And being conscious in your business means taking not just your business into account. It's taking the impact that you're making or that you can make into account. And that has to do not just with the people that you serve, but it also has to do with how your business is set up, how it impacts the people that work inside the company. Is it a win for them? Is it a good culture? Is it healthy? Is it helping people develop their dreams and goals? And is it good also for the people who are, the founders? Sometimes it's really easy as a C-suite or as a business owner to get on this hamster wheel where you burn out.
Right.
So you really need to bring a conscious view, taking these things into consideration. What are the deeper values that you have and how does those infuse everything that you're doing, everything that you're saying and the practices that you have? Unfortunately, being in the entrepreneur world, speaking world, as long as I have, sometimes you run into people who preach these incredible positive messages from the stage, but then don't treat people well behind the curtain. And being conscious means that you're congruent. And that also comes back around to the vocal leadership or embodied leadership that we all strive to develop when you are conscious, to make sure that, you're reflecting and having your internal conversations match what's coming out of your face.
Wow. So that's the first time I've heard that sort of response as far as how it can be one way for the show, but behind the scenes, things aren't matching and how it needs to. So would you say then in order for things to be congruent, it has to start with the internal of the founder, of the person who's kind of setting the culture from the beginning?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. You set the tone. The buck stops here, as the old saying goes.
Right.
And I think one of the important things about being a leader is being open enough to seek the coaching on that or to seek the feedback on that, not just from other experts, but also from your team, also from the people around you, from your clients. And it can really take something to hear feedback about that. I remember years ago, going all the way back to my 20s, I used to get this piece of feedback all the time because I'm a pretty intense person. I
understand. Yes.
There's this intensity and there's this fervor and there's this passion. And they would say, well, could you tone it down a little bit? Or could you soften your edges? And oh my God, that was so offensive. That pissed me off 18 different ways because
Right.
I just thought they meant that they wanted it. You would go be quiet, put in a box and smile and do what you're told. And sometimes that was the case. But what I came to understand later is that it wasn't really about me. It was about them being intimidated by me. But where I can be kind and I can be compassionate is learning how to read the room.
Right.
And learning how to not, quell or shut off my intensity or my passion, but to manage it or to express it in a way that people can really receive. Because that's what's important to me. Can you receive the message that I'm giving?
Right. I definitely, that's one of the hardest lessons to learn is different people receive things different ways. It's like, oh, I'm just passionate. I just want you to do great. I want us to do great. And just certain ways, it doesn't sit with people like that. And it's learning how to that extra communication.
Yeah. I remember one of the most important conversations I ever had. It was in a leadership course, really in kind of intense 1-year long course. And one of my fellow, very successful executive woman, she said, I was getting all ramped up about something. She said, why is this so important to you? I said, well, the question is, why isn't it important to you?
Mm.
And we had a really fascinating discussion about how different people have different capacities to feel. And certain ones of us are very highly sensitive and other people are not. And just, it really opened my eyes because I really kind of just thought that everybody was like me. And turns out, nope.
No, not at all.
Not so much.
And had to make those adjustments. And so, where do you see your business going then in the next 3 to 5 years? I mean, I'm sure we're seeing that people are doing more audio, both receiving and giving, than actual reading and literature and everything. So, where do you see your business going?
Well, we've doubled the company 4 years in a row, time on time.
Okay.
And I don't expect that will happen forever, certainly.
But it's nice so far.
It's great so far. And so we're in a big scaling phase right now. And also in a position, earlier in 2020, when the pandemic really was affecting a lot of our colleagues, our clients, our customers, former clients, things like that, I was grateful that we were in a position because we've always been a fully mobile company. And of course, audio is much easier to do remote, that we offered, a lot of a compliment just for free. We went out and said, how can we help? And offered teleclasses and consultations and things like that to help different companies make use of this online space, make use of audio, both for internal communications and external communications and marketing. And so 2020 was really a banner year for us. Okay. And going into 2021 and beyond, we're just looking to really serve more companies to have more intimate relationships with their current clients, with their future clients, with their colleagues, and even for their internal culture, because podcasting in particular can help with all of that. And then on the author side of things, of course, a lot of people with time that they had are finishing their books and getting things out on audio, and audio books outsell ebooks 3-to-1 across genres. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to help people get their voice out like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're kind of in a nice little sweet spot where it's like you get to, of course, help people build their businesses and kind of make certain pivots, but of course it helps your business as well, having more clients.
Exactly. It's weird to say it felt like being in the right place at the right time after 20 years. So worth the wait. Worth the wait.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you have a few services offered through your website, such as, like you said, your podcast and audiobook. Tell us about any other services that you might offer, your business offers.
Well, the Done For You audiobook side of things, one of the key things that we're able to do with folks, to the best of my knowledge, we're the only audiobook house, and we do specialize in nonfiction exclusively, who is able to remote into wherever an author is in the world and record their audiobook with them live, full direction from their home studio or office without them having to go into a studio. And we can coach them on very easily getting good sound, having a high quality audiobook, and it keeps the cost down. And it's also very comforting to be in your own space while you do that. So, and we also can do really fun things like insert music and even other audio clips and things like that. We're producing a memoir for a family right now on the Holocaust. And there are some fascinating video clips that we're converting to audio that we're going to be inserting in the narrative to help tell this story. So there's some really cool stuff we do on that side. And same thing with podcasting. Podcasting is so creative and such a beautiful format to get your message out there. So whether it is internal podcasting, like we do with enterprise level companies, external podcasting that we do with companies and organizations to help get the word out about who they are, what they do, and develop their influence, or the vocal leadership that I do one-on-one to help people become more effective in the messages that they have. We're just happy to do all of it with folks.
Sounds like, you cover a lot of different things a lot of different people could use, especially right now with how things have changed. And so for anyone who's interested in using any of those services or just even wants to connect with you, where are the best places and platforms to go to?
You can definitely find me on any social media platform. We have a social media following of about 280,000. So we're out there. And so you can find me, Tina Dietz. You can also look up Twin Flame Studios, although my name is probably going to get you a better result there. On LinkedIn, certainly, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And you can also just come over to us at Twin Flames Studios. It's a lot of S's, .com, and come and hang out with us, find out some more information, and grab a cup of coffee.
Love it. I love coffee, and I'm sure others do too, and love
Me
to do
too.
so with you. Perfect. Well, Tina Dietz, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure learning about you and your company today.
Oh, it's been a pleasure being here. Thanks so much, Gabby.